your first memory of like the ocean?
Actually, someone made me this question last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I already had a thought about it.
Cool.
So I think my first memory was in Azores in Pico Island, um, at the balcony of my grandmother's house, and she's singing
Wow.
for me to fall asleep an ocean song with the ocean waves behind. I think that's my first memory of the ocean.
That sounds like a book. Like that's like that sounds like a fairy tale, like a perfect uh beautiful.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, literally perfect. How about you, Eugenia or Zuleika?
Yeah, I my memory is quite similar to Joanna's, in the sense that there's a grandmother involved, of course,
Oh yeah.
and there's me stood on the seashore looking at the ocean. Like we have a very strong cultural connection with the ocean,
Yeah.
but you wouldn't dare go into it. You know, it's a respected space. It's a very spiritual space. So one of my first memories of the ocean is me stood on a shoreline and just overlooking the space that I wasn't allowed to enter. So look at me now, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah,
Literally
I know,
like
right? It's so
in it.
weird.
Oh, that's so
I'm,
crazy.
I'm in it.
You're in it. Oh, I love
Yeah.
that, Zuleika. How about you, Eugenia?
Mine is also related with family memories. Like
Oh, yeah.
ones are the ones that are related with what I really remember, right? That is that those memories from childhood until I was 5 of my family, like my parents and my brothers. We spent like 1 or 2 months on the school holidays almost every day by the beach. And I remember like being called by my older brothers like an old lady because I was like since morning until people yelling at me to get out of the sea in the water just there. And they always forced me to add the boys, and I was like 3 or 4, but I was okay, I just want to be there.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's so I think it's then growing up I spoke with my mother and I understood that there were some other things when I was like less than 1 year that I have no idea that happened, but I
Yeah.
think those also influenced my connection. Like I saw like my parents taking the scuba diving course and I
Yeah.
was like baby of months, and I think all those things kind of stay in our mind without even we understanding
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I grew up around lakes, and so my first memory of the ocean was going, what is this? Like, because that's what we would do. Like, you would just like swim and get water in your mouth. And I'm like, this is not the same. Like, this is a different beast entirely. So that was
Yeah.
my first memory of just being like, this is different. Like, this is something else. And just being, yeah, like thinking a lot about it and almost like giving it like a character, like in a story, that it had like a personality that I would think about that just felt so different than anything I'd ever experienced. So that's definitely my first memory. But awesome. We have some, this is Rui. I'm assuming, and you should never assume, but I'm assuming Rui is related to Joanna.
Yeah, it's my father.
Rui, 3 years old, the sound of the waves next to my grandmother's home. I love that. And this is from Nicolina. Nicolina is also from Illinois, same as myself. I don't really know my first memory of the ocean. Yeah, no, I know it's hard to think about what it's one of my favorite things to do because I think we take it so much for granted. These things that just occur naturally, and so to actually think about that first instance is a treat. So anyways, we'll get it going because we have a lot of content to cover. We got just a lot of brains to pick. Like, I'm so excited for this episode specifically. We were kind of joking beforehand because it's some of the people just admired in general for the longest time. And so to get everyone together to like have this like cool conversation right before World Ocean Day is really excited. But Anyways, if my face does not look familiar to you, hi, I hope we become friends really fast. My name is Bailey Ritter, and I'm the youth advisor for the Ocean Project. And at the very end, I'll show you how you can get involved in the Rising Blue Network and sign up for the brand new newsletter, as well as prepare and get so excited for World Ocean Day coming up very quickly, June 8th. It's like in 13 days. And I know that every day is World Ocean Day, but specifically on June 8th, it's a time to show your love, your appreciation, and do something good no matter where you're at for our ocean. I'm from Pontiac, Illinois, like I mentioned, and yeah, I already shared my first ocean memory. But I am just so genuinely excited to introduce you all to my guests for this month's Rise Up webinar, Eugenia Barocca, Joanna De Rosa, and Zuleika Philander. Kind of like I was mentioning, this month's webinar is really about activation for ocean conservation, which is perfect timing considering, like I said, we have 13 days until World Ocean Day. But we're switching things up a little bit by this month by having 3 panelists from 3 completely different backgrounds and paths in the ocean space. And typically we have either a group of people from one organization, but these 3 represent the different walks of that ocean science and being in the ocean space can have. And we really wanted to do this webinar right before World Ocean Day to show you how you can get involved in this work no matter where you come from and no matter where you live. And these 3 bring such a unique perspective, and I really urge you to pick their brains. And if you are watching this recorded on YouTube, don't be afraid to drop a comment, drop a question in the comments as well. So here's a little bit more about my guests before we get started with this roundtable discussion. Born in Madeira Island and raised in the Azores, Joanna De Rosa has a deep connection with the ocean, which led her to become a marine biologist. Recently enrolled in a conservation master's degree at ISPA University. She is a member of Straw Patrol, an environmental awareness organization aimed at bringing awareness to the problem of marine litter through beach cleanups and lectures at primary, elementary, and high schools. She is also the Portuguese representative for the World Ocean Day Youth Advisory Council. And next we have Zuleika Philander. Zuleika is a marine biologist with a background in marine taxonomy and an interest in deep sea research. She's an active science communicator and has initiated mentorship programs that focus on creating more opportunities for the next generation of scientists. She has received a number of awards in recognition of her efforts to transform marine sciences in South Africa. And she is currently coming to us from OceanXplorer, which we can't say too much about. She'll talk more about, but it is a vessel out at sea exploring some of the most remote parts of the ocean. And last but certainly not least, we have Eugenia Barocca, who is a 26-year-old youth ocean advocate from Portugal, who studied marine biology and now works as a consultant for Sustainable Ocean Alliance. As SOA's, which is the acronym, SOA's Lusophone and Europe representative. Eugenia is the president of Ocean Hub Portugal, a SOA Ocean Solutions Hub led by a voluntary group of young ocean leaders. And I'm so excited to be in community with them. And I always have to first start out and say thank you all for your work. You all make me optimistic, honestly. I know there's a lot of scary facts out there, but you all bring a smile to my face and are the reason I do what I do. So I only gave the high level sort of overview of who you are, but if you could tell us a little bit more either about your work, your advocacy, and what you're doing, that would be fantastic. And just because I'm looking at her, we're going to start with Joanna.
Hi everyone. I'm really excited to be here, and thank you, Bailey, for this opportunity. So I'm currently studying conservation in a conservation master degree, which has been really exciting because I loved my bachelor's degree in marine biology, but it was really it was not focused in conservation, and now I have like classes that really keep me going. It's really exciting. Also in the summer, I'm a cetaceans guide usually, and I do love whales and dolphins. They are all my world. And as an advocacy, my advocacy work, I do lectures at primary and elementary and high schools. I've been asked to do some at colleges too, about plastic pollution mostly. And I really enjoy doing it because when I finish it, I see the kids like really astonished with all the information they get, and they come to me and start. I see a comment saying, "I like whales." Nice, Tyler. And it's really exciting see that I can reach so many people that didn't know about all these issues that are going in our ocean, and they get excited to do something about it. And I really love when the kids come to me and say, "Oh, I want to be a marine biologist too." They're really, really cute.
Beautiful. And we'll go with Eugenia next.
First of all, thank you very much, Bailey, for this invitation and organizing this event as well. And so basically, I started to do environmentally volunteering, more ocean focus, around when I was 16, and was actually during the university when I was also what Joanna is now, the Portuguese representative of the Youth Advisory Council. And at that time, and inspired also by that global movement and inspiring of, was I think that, yeah, that was my first international volunteer project. Before I was more in national ones. And I started to organize in a more current way, different events. So during 3 years around the June, around the World Oceans Day, but not only, some events with schools as well, lectures, also with the community, like documentary screenings and debates, beach cleanups and artistic workshops, and making exhibitions with the sculptures and so on. I also have that passion in a way of using arts as a communication of science. And I also tried a project when I was the last year, the Atlantic Youth Ambassador from Portugal. I tried the project, but then it was interrupted by COVID. That was with schools and by the Theatre of the Oppressed method. It's a really interesting concept. If you don't know, I invite you to research. Basically, engage the audience to give solutions and improvise on the solutions and so on. But basically now professionally, so all this path was including was actually Melati, that was a member also of the Youth Advisory Council. She was the first one, how I found out about SOA, Sustainable Ocean Alliance. And first I engaged as young ocean leader, and recently I started to work with them. And I love this work because it's being connected with these really active youth all around the world. First I started with the Portuguese-speaking countries community, now also with Europe, and it's really inspiring to see. So now instead of me doing, I also organize some events, but with COVID not that much in person, but it's also good to be in this background, but connected, helping and supporting these youth to amplify their ocean solutions. And I also learn a lot with them. And that's been also increasing the path on the advocacy and policy, like more focusing also those campaigns. And that's something also I've been enjoying, and understanding that is really a collective effort from all of us. Yeah, thank you.
That was wonderful. And how about you, Zalika?
Thanks, Bailey. Thanks so much for the invite. And Eugenia and Johanna, oh my gosh, you guys are so impressive. That was so amazing. Just reflecting, like when I was your age, like, yeah, wow, I'm so impressed and inspired. So I'm joining in from one of the most amazing vessels, OceanXplorer. As Bailey mentioned, I have a background in marine taxonomy. I am a full-time researcher from South Africa, and I work for the Minister of Environment, Forestry and Fisheries. So taxonomy basically is a stream of biology that looks at delineating species. So looking at the diagnostic features and sort of trying to figure out who's who, you know, in the ocean, putting a name to a face. I've been able to apply the skill and approach to a more ecosystem-based level, where in South African waters, I am documenting the different ecosystems, the different habitats, specifically on the seabed, and looking at how environmental variables might influence the distribution. So basically, how much of these animals are there, why they are there, and what can we do to ensure that we get more of these services that the ocean renders. So I play a lot. I play a lot in the sort of science policy interface. Most of my work to date has contributed to establishing the first offshore MPAs in South Africa. Yeah, so that is me, and it's quite weird when you think about where I come from. I come from a landlocked rural area in the eastern parts of South Africa. My grandmother used to take me to the ocean once a year on New Year's, celebrate the New Year, because we had a strong spiritual connection to the ocean. I've managed somehow to take this sort of like practice, and rather than fearing the ocean, I'm submerging myself in it. I still approach it with a lot of care, a lot of respect, but now I'm trying to better understand it so that, you know, sometimes when I tell people like my job is really similar to those like highway signs, that stop sign, that off branch, that tells you where to go, that tells you when to stop, that tells you when to slow down. So I play a lot in the science policy interface. My research focuses more on marine protected areas. And that is me.
I love that. Something that we were talking about at the kind of the beginning is how I think one of my first memories was how like almost thinking of the ocean as like a character in not necessarily a character, but like a figure. And I think when you were just talking, Zalika, I think we've lost that in a lot of ways, you know, this like, and I don't ever mean to like anthropomorphize something, but it's like, it is a living thing, and we need to treat it as such, and, you know, get back to that respect, and, you know, looking at actually how no matter where you're at, how you are, what you're doing is impacting. While we're on you, Zalika, do you mind telling us a little bit more about your work upon OceanXplorer?
So wow, OceanXplorer, amazing platform, cutting edge equipment, amazing team on board, absolutely brilliant. So I'm out here, I'm one of the 4 explorers, and essentially our role here is to package some of the most complex processes, some of the most complex observations to the general audience. We are here to explore. We are here to get lost in our minds as we submerge ourselves in the ocean. We are here to find the dots, to link the dots from surface to the deeper waters. I am currently practicing, or let me say, I am more of my current position or my current title in South Africa is I'm a deep sea biologist. So being able to link the deeper environment, the more hostile, the environment that people think is lifeless, being able to bring that to people and really merging the knowledge that we generate here with the surface. Everything is connected. Everything is connected, from what is happening on the terrestrial ecosystems to what is happening in the atmosphere to the deepest parts of the ocean. And sometimes I get lost in these details, and it's so amazing. It's absolutely amazing to be on board with the team of passionate people coming from different backgrounds. I sometimes see myself as a person who represents both sides of the coin. I come, as I've mentioned, landlocked area, not quite privileged in many respects, but here I am, just like rubbing shoulders with the best of the best on the team and learning from one another. You know, when you talk of conservation and when you try and share your passion, so important to step in it with your experience, to step in it with everything that you would have liked to see when you were growing up. I did not grow up knowing that there's a field called marine biology. You know, I learned how to swim at a very seasoned age. I was like 25 years old, and I was in a pool with youngsters, with toddlers. It was so amazing. They'll throw toys and those youngsters would just pass me. They'll just shoot right past me. But the nicest thing about youngsters is that they did not laugh. They did not judge. Instead, they cheered me on, you know, and it was such an amazing experience, you know. So I bring that to the table. I bring understanding that even though, you know, you come from an area, particular area that doesn't have a strong physical connection with the ocean, but the ocean, the passion, the ocean talks to all of us, you know, and sometimes you just somehow get lost in the details, you somehow get lost in your current situation, but the ocean talks to all of us. And I guess right now in the OceanXplorer, we are unlocking amazing things. And in that amazement, I'm bringing every single person from a landlocked area. I am bringing every single person who cannot swim. I am bringing every single person who does not know that there's something called a sponge. So yes, OceanXplorer is a platform that has just given me so much room to enhance some of the things that I really believe in. And that's, like we spoke about this, Bailey, like you mentioned it earlier, everybody has a space in the ocean. Everybody can be the voice of the ocean, but we just need to bridge that gap, that knowledge gap a bit. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here on board the OceanXplorer. That's a bit of a mouthful. I'm sorry. I tend to ramble.
My goosebumps, literally, like, what? Like, can you? I just was like, I'm so excited. Taylor put this in the chat. I'm having so much fun. Yeah, same. Wow, no, that's amazing. I think constantly in my advocacy work, especially in inland communities, I hear, if I could only see it, maybe I would get it. You know, if I could only see the ocean, if I could only be there, maybe I would get it. But since I can't, I don't. And I think it's exactly what you were saying, Zalika, that's what you and the other explorers are doing. You know, you're bringing us along with you. And, you know, in a sense, we get to also experience that and get to touch and kind of learn as you all are learning. I can't wait for whatever is to come out of your journey to come out. Yeah, everyone. Also, if anyone wants to learn more about OceanXplorer, literally go on Google OceanXplorer. Like, there's tons of like really great articles and things like that out there. So definitely give that a check out. This is a question for you, Eugenia and Joanna. In researching all of you, because I'm like all of your biggest fans, I found that you both attended the same university and studied the same major, marine biology. How does your scientific work complement your advocacy work at university? How do you use your scientific work? How does your scientific work, I guess I should say, complement your advocacy work? And how can others who also want to pursue a journey also at that intersection between science and advocacy, how can they do that?
I don't know, Joanna, if you want to go first. I go.
You can go.
Thank you. So basically, so we didn't found each other during the university because we were in different periods over there. What's a pity, but even that we connected, I think I was already away from there. But one thing that was essential for me, the degree itself of marine biology, was because I went there really with the intention of better understanding how it worked, the ecosystems, the species, to also through that base of understanding and knowledge to be able to help and contribute in a better and adjustable way of marine life itself. And then when I went to the university, I thought that I wanted to be a researcher, but during the studies, I understood the big gap that we just mentioned, and Zulika just talked about it, that the big gap between like the academic world and research and science and discovery and the general public, and with the policy, with the economy, the companies, schools, everything. So that was why I decided the change of my path and to dedicate more to this area of science communication and youth engagement and solutions empowerment, more this through a social enterprise and organization. But these, I think these like community communication. It's and that we support each other independently of where we are in the world, just like we are doing now. That's really important. Also to amplify the views of the problems, the solutions, and the cooperation itself to act. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna leave. And also, I think I'm not sure if I answered. What was the second part you said?
No, you definitely answered it.
Yes, sir? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, you definitely answered it. How about you, Joanna? How do you, either how can other young people kind of also meet at that intersection between, the sciences and advocacy? And how does that happen for you? How does your background in science, complement your work in advocacy?
Okay, I think I need to go a little back to when I was 5 years old, because that's when I learned how to swim. And my father, he snorkels, so I started snorkeling with him in the ocean, and that's when I fell in love for it. And I knew the ocean was my happy place. So since I was 5 years old, I knew I wanted to be a marine biologist. And then I entered my bachelor's degree in Walg University. And a lot of things changed because I knew there were issues with the ocean. I knew there were problems, but I didn't know they were so critical. And that's when I started my advocacy work. I started joining associations that do beach cleanups. Then I start doing my own beach cleanups with the team. I entered the Straw Patrol team, and I started giving lectures. And I really want to reach the young people, because I was young and I loved the ocean, and I didn't know that there were so many issues. So that's what I really want to do. And being on the marine science environment let me get more knowledge about it and learn more about all of this.
Yeah, I definitely want to give snaps to that comment, Joanna, of there's always a point where you're just like in the love phase. It's like starting a new relationship. You're like in the puppy dog phase of like, I just love this. And then you start to learn more and you're like, okay, it's a lot more complex than that. So yeah, I love that. So I want to go back to you, Zalika, for a second. I mean, because essentially that's what you're doing aboard OceanXplorer. I mean, you're combining cutting edge science with storytelling to advocate for increased exploration, but also protection in a lot of ways. What do you think, in your opinion, is kind of the secret sauce, if you will, to producing science communication that spurs people to do something for our planet?
I think from my experience, it will definitely be to communicate it in a way that, anybody feels like they can do something, right? As opposed to the doom and gloom. As a person who really hasn't had a connection with the ocean from a very young age, I'm seeing most of these ecosystems for the first time. And yes, they have deteriorated. They are not in a good state, but they are so beautiful. They're so beautiful to me. There is hope, and I think instilling the hope will lead to people wanting to do more, wanting to actually just act. So yeah, I think the secret ingredient in my from where I'm stood at would definitely be giving a sense of hope. Yes, things are bad. Yes, we are facing a lot of challenges, but there's still that sweet spot. There's still some areas and there's still some things that we can do. Yeah, and I guess in many ways as well, when we start talking about conservation and the environment, we tend to isolate ourselves as humans. It's like, it's the ocean in us, it's the environment in us. We are part of the ecosystem. We need to learn to coexist with it, and I think and we're slowly seeing this in the science field, like people are changing the narrative, they're changing the perspective, they're realizing that as humans on this earth, we are going to have a footprint. But how do we ensure that we do not hit that ecological threshold, And we can't do that without information. So we do the science. We cannot do that without other people. You do not have to be a scientist to care about the ocean. You know, that's one of the main misconceptions. You do not have to be a scientist or a marine biologist. The ocean is so diverse. It's so dynamic. Everybody who's anybody can do something to like at least change, you know, the way or the trajectory right now. And I think there's hope. So yeah, definitely don't steer fear in people. You know, things can get better. Things will get better. The pendulum has to come back. You know, it has to swing and come back. So yeah, I think that would be my very long answer.
No, I love that. That's what all the young people that I talk to, they're like, what's your biggest advice for young people? It's like, you can be an environmentalist, you can be a conservationist, you can be someone who protects the ocean and still be a doctor and like still become a dentist and still become a teacher. Like truthfully, there are ways to integrate all of these topics into just about anything that you do with your life. So we don't all have to be marine scientists. Although if you want to be, kudos, we're going to support you. We need you. But also like you can still be a part of this epic journey and this epic movement by simply doing, you know, what you can with the time, the energy, and the resources that you have every day. So yeah, I love that. This is a question that, Zalika, when you were talking, where do you guys find hope in all of this? What are those moments that you're just like, yay, I'm renewed, my energy is renewed, you know, to keep pushing forward, keep exploring, keep kind of giving yourselves to this larger movement? Go ahead, Eugenia. I saw you on mute, so I'm like, yeah, go
I
ahead.
was like, I don't know, like there are different key moments that give me a lot of hope, but definitely like sometimes emails, majority because some students are really shy. So I received some emails that heartbreak me, like, and really motivated me to keep going after when I give some talks on schools and so on. Like, for example, once was a message like, I already tried to make little action every day, but now you inspire me to make big actions instead of the little small ones. Even the small ones are important as well. And that let me really like inspired to keep going, because sometimes I also feel like that imposter syndrome, and I don't know if it's like it also happens to me, and that makes me feel I'm just, because now I also act, but I'm currently more speaking, and that's a fact. I'm more focusing on communicating, and I'm getting a bit away. I just read science, but I'm not producing science, right? So sometimes I feel that, but then those moments give us hope. And also, especially when I see more and more people collaborating, cooperating from different organizations, from different countries, different backgrounds. And as you were saying, like that we need everyone, I think that's exactly where we need to focus this interdisciplinary approach. Like as Zalika said earlier, like if everything is interconnected, like in the oceans. And one thing that the word I most loved to learn in the degree was exactly this one, interconnectivities. And a wonderful teacher that said this with a lot of excitement, like interconnectivities, when she was teaching the marine ecosystem. So basically, through that, I think that's how we also need to act. Like we should learn with the life itself, with biology, and also do those interconnectivities between our society, the different areas, because we all need to actually contribute to fight these challenges that we have. Sorry, I spoke a lot as well. So
I love it, Eugenia. Yeah, I think I would say exactly the same. And sometimes, and I think it happens to everyone, we get a little bit stressed and we think we can't do things. So when that happens, we need to take a break. But then like I do a lecture and I see the sparkles in the kids' eyes and how they are enjoying it, and I get so motivated to keep doing it. And seeing other people motivated about conservation and about ocean advocacy really motivates me to do better. And yeah, that's that's it.
As I say, Zalika, you can either answer or I can go to the next one.
It's totally up to you. Totally up to you. But I guess I'll give a short answer. I get hope from campaigns like this. You know, when I was your age, I never even, was involved in anything of this sort or magnitude. I get excited, I get inspired, I find hope in other people's stories. I find conservation youth-led campaign is absolutely phenomenal. This is, I am potentially one of the I am one of the people in my generation who are going to plant the seed, but are not going to be around to reap the rewards. And to see that there's masses of youngsters, young adults waiting for not waiting actually, they're taking the wheel. That's absolutely it's powerful. And I was actually chatting to Joe earlier. It's like, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that exploration is in good hands. I'm hopeful that conservation is in good hands, as the table is raised by several people from different countries, from different expertise, and we're having these conversations from mathematicians to musicians to scientists to policy advisors to economists. It's just a beautiful thing, and there's just been this shift. So all of you guys just really give me hope. And I'm a person who steps with I don't step with a lot of confidence. I'm always doubtful of myself every single second. But when I see this, I'm like, okay, let's do this, So thank you. So thank you so much.
I agree. I feel like even 5 years ago, people weren't talking, and now I see so many people talking about, just like Eugenia, what you were saying, talking together about what we all can be doing and how we can connect and how we can, no matter where you're from, really lend yourself to working. I live in a rural community in Illinois, and they had to have been 7 or 8 come up to me and say, did you know that not using a plastic water bottle, it'll help the ocean? And I was like, yes, like, whoa, just something so foundational, and yet just really moved me because, I just think, even like I said, 5 years ago, I don't know if people would have had those, a little kid would have come up to me on the street and said that. So the fact that we're having more of these and that these are resulting in more of you guys watching, joining, it gives me a lot of hope. Zalika, we have a lot of questions in the Q&A box. If you've ever seen a zebra seahorse or a whale shark, and this is from Taylor. So if you've seen either of those.
Fortunately not. I haven't seen any of those. The ocean is so vast, and we go out on our expeditions and we hope to see stuff. We look for known unknowns, but sometimes we stumble on things that are absolutely new to science. Sometimes we don't stumble on what we think we're going to find. So no, well, not yet, not a zebra seahorse or whale shark, but I'm hoping one day the ocean will allow me to step into its secrets and I can see those animals.
Next time we talk to Zalika, she's going to be like, guess what I saw? Fingers crossed. That's amazing. Well, I want to get to one last question. I know we're running short on time, and I do want to provide you all opportunities with ways to get involved, not only for this World Ocean Day, but beyond that. But one final question that I have for all of you is, what is one thing that you wish you would have known before getting involved either in marine science or ocean advocacy? What is the one thing you wish you would have known before starting this journey?
I think what I would tell to my young self would be the exact critically problems that the ocean is facing. Because when I was little, but I played with dolls till really late. I was like 16 and I asked for Barbies on my birthday. And there's a beach that I used to go with my family, and I went there, and there was a lot of litter on the sand. And I used to collect little pieces that I think I could use to play with my dolls, like that. Can you imagine? I don't know if it's just only in Portugal, but when we ask a pizza, the pizza comes with a little table, and I use those little tables for my Polly Pockets and other things that I found out. But I only collected the litter that I thought I could use for my dolls. So I didn't think that the rest of all the litter that was there was going back to the ocean. It was just normal. It was there. So I think I would explain that that's not normal, and that's not part of the ocean. And also, I forgot to say that I think we in the marine science circle, we get a lot of information, but the people that are not from these environments doesn't get the same information as us, because we on social media we are following specific pages that give us information. We every day have information from everywhere, new studies, like we always know what's going on, and most people don't have these information, especially the communities that live far away from the coast, as you and Zolika said. And I think it's really important to keep sharing and keep everyone updated with what's going on and what we can do to do better personally, and discussing these issues is really important. So thank you for letting us be here. It was really exciting.
Okay, I think I can go as well. So one thing I think I wanted to know before would be like something, okay, this was not, I'm going to say something was not what I planned, what I thought about saying some seconds ago, what I remember just now. That is something that I've been living currently right this year. That is, you know, those times that you just are going back, like now I'm going back 10 years, 11 years ago when I was 15, and when Portuguese education system forced me to choose an area that was or science or arts or humanities or economy, something like that. I got really angry because I wanted to be marine biology since I was 3 years old, like to take care of the ocean and fishes, but I also wanted arts. And I was like, I need to learn everything before I make a choice or something like that. And then, so I wanted painting and sculpture, but then my mother told me that would not work, and I thought, okay, 3D animation. And then I thought, oh, between all day on the computer and the day in the ocean with the contact with the animals, no, I'm definitely, and that I always love, I'm going to be a marine biologist. And ironically now, I spend all my day on the computer, and that's like an irony that I face in my life, because I work remotely with all these young ocean leaders around the world, but it's true, is the laptop and the internet, right? And that would be something that I also would like to tell myself, like how things would be like in reality. And also something about like the marine biology area itself, what I felt, at least in the education area, as Joanna spoke about, like not being conservationally focused, I felt that a lot of the methods that we were learning were like having animal mortality and impacts in organisms that were not necessary, because a lot of those conclusions were written in articles for decades, and or we could use like technology innovation and more videos and different methodologies that we use more and more now, but to educate and to involve the new generations as well, even that sometimes it's, and also the innovation in terms of like creating the organism, like understanding so deeply in trying to create like artificial ones just for the study and like technologically one. I have a teacher that did that in the Algarve to study the pollution effects in mussels. So she created an artificial mussel to instead of putting the animals to those substances, to put an artificial one. So those kind of things I would like to be aware more before as well, where I was studying. Yeah.
Wow, you guys, I just can't get over how, like, I'm so impressed. Like, can I even top that up? Like, do I even need to say anything? I'm just like, you said it all. You said it all. But I guess the one thing I wish I knew when I was younger is that there's so much strength in standing and stepping and owning your story, you know, just as a person, you know, and it takes one a very long time to get to that space, right? But yeah, I mean, how do I put this? I sort of lost my trail of thought because it's like 9 now, and I'm getting a bit sleepy. But yeah, owning your story, stepping in that story, and realizing that you don't have to know it all. Science, knowledge generation is constantly evolving, it's constantly changing. You know, the one thing you need to be good at, if at all, is just to be a critical thinker. Read something, you know, and just look at it critically. Read it, talk to people, talk to people, talk to people. You know, knowledge, any form of knowledge, whether it's about the ocean, about the atmosphere, any single part of the ecosystem, even if it's human physiology, you know, it's constantly evolving as our equipment evolves, as the infrastructure evolves, as we develop better methods. So you're never always gonna. There's no end to learning. There's no end to learning. That's what I want to say. You know, when you're in primary school, you're like, oh, I can't wait till I get to high school. When I'm in high school, I'm like, oh, I want a job. You know, then I don't need to like learn. There's no end to learning, and that's the beauty of it. Yeah, so I wish somebody told me that and just gave me a heads up that, hey, you know, you're going to be like 35 odd years and you'll be in the middle of the ocean trying to understand, you know, why the water is salty in this particular area. You're going to be trying to understand the physics around that, you know. So yeah, never get too old for learning.
I love that. Never stop learning. There is always stuff to learn. Thank you all so much. I do want to share just ways, if you are watching, ways to get involved and take action right now. Let me go down. So if you don't know how QR codes work, just simply take your phone and take a photo of the little individual codes. That first one on the very left is to sign the 30 by 30 petition, urging and encouraging your world leaders to protect at least 30% of our blue planet by 2030. That second QR code is to find a World Ocean Day event near you. That's coming up. So there's tons of online and remote opportunities around this. So if there's nothing in person, you know, safely, definitely check out an online event. That third QR code is plan one if there's nothing happening. You know, share this love for the ocean with your community members and the people in your life. And that fourth one is register for Youthathon, which is a 24-hour ocean conservation event featuring global youth leaders around the world talking about what they're doing to protect our ocean. I just want to thank you, Joanna, Eugenia, and Zalika, for being here with me today, sharing your advice. I feel like this was a little baby TED Talk, and I am already like so excited to watch the recording. So thank you guys so much for being here. Just know, to any of you watching right now, either on YouTube or live here with us now, you're doing so much good for our planet by simply attending things like these. Continue to learn, like Zalika said, continue to do what you can with the resources and energy that you have. And thank you for being a part of our community. We need you. We're so proud of you. And yeah, keep it up. Our ocean, our blue planet thanks you. So thank you, Joanna, Eugenia, Zalika. Get some sleep. Thanks, guys, so much for being here. And I'll see you in the next Rise Up webinar. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.